Hello, many thanks for joining the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakum. Today on the program, Army Chief Buratai blames soldiers for setbacks in the fight against insurgency, accuses them of indiscipline and lack of commitment. And later on the show, UK warns citizens against traveling to 21 states in Nigeria as kidnappers abduct ex-minister's son. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Gani Kayode Balogun, and Emeka Madunagu. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Many thanks for joining us again. The Yoruba people of the southwest Nigeria have a common saying which goes thus: when the mighty elephant is slain, different types of cutlasses are on the display for butchering. Nigeria, the famed giant of Africa, has battled an intractable insurgency in its northeast region for more than a decade, and the battle has been blamed on many issues. The country's Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, added a twist to this when he blamed his own troops for the setbacks. Speaking at a forum in Abuja, Buratai lamented the lack of commitment and discipline among younger generation of soldiers on the war front. His statement comes 4 days after the triple bomb attacks in Konduga, Borno State claimed more than 30 lives. If those on the front lines are displaying insufficient commitment to perform, how then do we defeat this insurgency? Babajide, this is what could lead to the seeming lack of commitment on the part of the troops? Do you think it has to do with morale? Do you think it has to do with, being battle weary, lack of the necessary equipment? What do you think is responsible for these people? They have a track record that all the foreign missions they've been going to and everything, they've always come back with, accolades. So what do you think the Chief of Army Staff will be doubting the commitment on the part of his troops?
Well, the Chief of Army Staff is right. But that's not the only problem. My problem with the Chief of Army Staff, and of course that's understandable, is that he refuses to talk about some of the problems and chose to blame the setbacks on one problem. But the setbacks can be blamed on a number of factors. So he has chosen to talk about one. And he wants us to believe that it's just that factor that is responsible for the failures that we are experiencing. First and foremost, let's even thank him for admitting that we are facing setbacks, because this is an army that has a history of not admitting that setbacks happen. This is an army that has a history, and of course backed by the president and some of the people who enjoy lying to the president, that the army has been on top of the situation, the enemy has been defeated, they have been restricted to soft targets, this and that. As far as we know, attacking army bases does not constitute attacking soft targets. And we've said this a long time ago, that when you say that the enemy can only attack soft targets, we've said it, that is a lie. We've seen increasingly now the enemy taking the battle to the army, and the army clearly has no solution. Because in 1 week, Boko Haram overran 4 army bases.
With 1 week?
In 1 week, 4 army bases with significant equipment casualty and casualty on the side of the army. So definitely it has forced the Chief of Army Staff to now admit what a lot of us have been talking about, that yes, we are facing setbacks. Congratulations to him for admitting, after so many months of denying that setbacks happen. So this is the situation. it is not simply a matter of lack of commitment. There are officers and men who are committed, who are prepared to give their all to their country. We have a serious equipment deficiency. I've been talking about it for so long. When Boko Haram overran our base in Gajiram, they complained that they battled these guys for hours until they ran out of equipment. Ammunition, I mean. Until they ran out of ammunition. So that's the Chief of Army Staff simply talking about one problem. We know that there is a problem of discipline.
How can you run out of ammunition in your own base?
If they have sufficient ammunition at the base. You see, the thing is, when the enemy comes like a flood, as the Bible, because Boko Haram sometimes comes like a flood, they've done due diligence about the number of troops you have on location. They are coming with twice the number of people that you have. They know the number of gun trucks that you have. We have Buffalo gun trucks and the rest. They come with twice the number that you have. They know the kind of weapons that you carry. They come with twice the number that you carry. They come with what the army describes as high volume violence. That's the language of the army. So when they come with high volume violence, and it's an isolated base that they've come to attack, of course, victory will be delivered to them. And the soldiers will run away. The next day, they will come back. So this is what is going on. The army chief, I know that it's not politically correct for him to come out and say we don't have weapons.
I wanted to say that, Jide.
I know he cannot say that, but we can say it to the president because it is our country. And it is human lives that are being lost now because we have this problem. And that's why we told the president, get these guys weapons. The president announced the other day that he had approved money for emergency weapons delivery. Do you remember? I said late last year. But we've not seen the kind of weapons that can give us a significant edge over the enemy. We've not seen that. And we are suffering setback after setback. A lot of these setbacks are not even reported. We can't talk about all the setbacks and the body count. If we talk about it, honestly, people will think that we are not patriotic. So this is the situation. We know there is indiscipline. We know that there are some soldiers whose business in the Northeast is simply to sell channel.
What's the meaning of that?
It's cow business. Soldiers deployed to the Northeast, a lot of them are doing business of selling fish in Baga. Some are doing business of selling cows. And how do they do it? You are manning checkpoints, and the traders are coming with a trailer load of cow. You compel them to drop one or two for you. It is happening. Major General Ezeogu, I'm not saying what is not true. Major General Ezeogu, who used to command this Operation Lafia Dole, he warned his officers publicly that they should stop extorting. From, if you Google it, you'll see the story. So I'm not saying what is not true, or that maybe Jide doesn't like the army, because that's what people say when you tell them the truth. Major General Ezeogu, I'm repeating it, he condemned the act of forcing businessmen to part with their stuff.
Extortion.
It's extortion. So it's going on. But we have to admit that we have all kinds of problems.
Emeka.
So this is just one, what he talked about is just one of them. There are other issues, even the strategy. Did we not advise that this army should stop being defensive, that they should take the battle to the enemy? How many times have we seen that happen? It will not happen because you don't have sufficient equipment to make that happen.
Emeka, looking at this situation now, and you want the Chief of Army Staff is already, with what he has said, you will know that something is wrong, and you will know that it has to do with even the morale of the troops. What do we do?
Yeah, the strategy has to change. It has to become more realistic. They have to really do something about equipment, because you can't, it's not a sumo wrestling match where you fight with bare hands. You're talking
But do you
about,
think if you have the wherewithal, we can't get all the equipment we need tomorrow?
No, it's not just about, we are not an arms producing country. We don't produce arms. If you go back, you see, some of these things have historical backgrounds. You know, the way we have been so reckless with the way we run this nation. When I came across a story one time that when General Buhari was the military head of state, that he had a plan that we should start producing arms. That we should start, yeah, that we should start also, that we should also venture into producing tanks. There was actually a plan for that. Forgotten the name they gave, was it Gulma or something, that they were going to produce a tank. But within a few months, he was overthrown. And that plan was thrown away. Now imagine if we had gone through with it. By now, at least we will have something. We'll have, no matter, even if it is light tanks or things like that, we would be producing arms. We will not have to depend on total importation of our arms. Now that is where the problem, another problem arises. We are having a serious problem sourcing arms from the West. It's a big problem. And so we cannot just go, and just get weapons and bring in. That's a problem. But these our leaders will not come out and admit it. And then there's another thing again. There was a U.S. general recently said that, the drones we acquired from China, that almost all of them had become defective. That, he was wondering, why does Nigeria think it can fight a war with Boko Haram with such low quality drones? That in fighting this insurgency, we need drones. So now, I tried to find out from the defense headquarters, okay, what do you think about this? Up till now, no response. So you even find out that those handling strategic communications in the military are not even ready to work with the media to help to boost the morale of the troops. So what are you going to get? When you stonewall the media, when you make sure that it's just what you are saying that should be reported. But Nigeria is not a banana republic. I've often said that. Nigeria is not, is not a country to be taken for granted. We ought to be more serious with the way we manage our affairs in this country. This insurgency is not a joke. Boko Haram is being supported by Islamic State. And Islamic State, if you know, they are dissidents. These guys are brutal. They are brutal, they are bloody. They don't just fight light wars. They want to keep the war running. And this war, take it or leave it, this war is draining our economy.
The likes of the United States and UK, they know what we're facing and what we're passing through. Don't you think it is hypocritical when you start, making it difficult for us to access the arms in which we need to fight this insurgents?
You tend to forget that at the tail end of the Jonathan years, they sent a battalion, I think, to help out. And they have to go back after just 2 months. Because all the strategies they were planning were already leaked to the Boko Haram guys. And then number two, don't forget that they know our leaders, their level of corruption, especially when it comes to military hardware and all that. We can sit here and look at it as patriotic Nigerians, but these people are aware of the kind of business that our generals are doing in these war zones. And they know that giving them certain levels of arms will not guarantee that the war will end. Don't also forget, like Jide said, there was a time there's a company called Nigerian Defense Industries.
Defense Industries Corporation.
NDIC.
No, DICON.
DIC. No,
DIC.
it was DIC, Defense Industries Corporation.
Their
Later
job,
on, they were supposed to produce weapons
small arms,
and all that.
ammunition.
Later on, it became DICON. And they started producing furniture
Salt.
for the army and other things,
So that has been on.
We started that DIC the same time with Brazil.
Yeah.
Brazil now manufactures military hardware,
Of course.
including even
tanks.
fighter planes.
Even the
We
Tucano,
started the same time.
Tucano jets we're expecting are going to come from Brazil.
From Brazil.
Really?
Those Tucano jets were expecting. Yes, they are being produced by Embraer and are for the United States. So, I mean,
So you see, the problem is not in our stars. It's in leadership. And what Mr. Buratai has shown is an acceptance that this government and this army, at the end of this month, it will be 4 years that Mr. Buratai took over as chief of army staff. That's practically the entire length of the Buhari administration. Whatever strategies they've done in the last 4 years had not worked. And they must now look in new directions. Unless and until we are sure that those of us or those of them that we started these things with, Brazil, Malaysia, Singapore, who are now producing arms and ammunition at the level where they can defend themselves, then nobody on this earth will take us seriously.
Did I put the same question to you? They know we're in trouble. They know what we are passing through. At the point in time, reports actually rated Boko Haram as the deadliest, terrorist organization in the world. And I feel so strongly by now we should be even having countries contributing troops to Nigerian army by now to help fight this insurgency.
No, I remember that even the president of Uganda wanted to send troops. The same thing with President of Benin, wanted to send troops. The idea of a standing force to help us defeat these guys was muted around 2013, 2014, you know. But that really is not even the issue. The last American administration was hostile to Nigeria. They thought they wanted regime change in Nigeria, no doubt about it.
The Obama
administration was tired of the corruption that characterized the Jonathan regime. They wanted a regime change, and Obama was not prepared to support Jonathan in any way. Look, we were going to get Chinook helicopters because Chinook helicopters are very good. You can use them for troop insertion. You can use them to evacuate wounded soldiers. It also has a weapon system. It has weapon system, which means you can also use it as an inverted ground attack helicopter. So we were going to get these Chinook helicopters because America will supply to Israel or Argentina, but you cannot now sell to a third party without their permission. So it was at that point that they blocked the deal because the Israelis were prepared to sell to us. But the American government blocked it. And all they talk about is this Leahy law, Leahy law, Leahy law. But look at Trump. Trump came in, and from the first day, he promised that he was going to help us to exterminate the terrorists who are making life difficult for Nigerians. And he showed that commitment, he demonstrated that commitment by giving his nod to the sale of Tucano jets to us. And he also told the president that whatever assistance you need, I'm prepared to give. Not that the Leahy law was not there, but here was another president who was prepared to do whatever it takes to ensure that we got around the Leahy law. And the late Senator Bob McCain was one Republican senator who was prepared and was telling his colleagues that, look, we need to put aside this Leahy law and help save Nigeria from the menace of terrorists. But the problem is, weapons like that are not bought on the shelf. Jonathan used that word and some people abused him. It is not like candy that you just simply walk into a department store and buy. You have to wait. And I've given the example of India that needed some Apache helicopters. They didn't even deliver the Apache helicopters until well after 4 years. So, you know, I told you when I returned from the Northeast sometime that this Tucano, we will not get this Tucano until like 2022. You know, I said it on the program. Well, it's the problem. And there are countries that at this time, their own Tucano jets are ready. I understand that the Chief of Air Staff made efforts to get the Americans to sell that one instead of delivering to them because we have a pressing need. But, you know, the Americans will not do that kind of business.
Okay, all right. I have a retired Army officer on the line. His name is Sadiq Shehu, a retired Air Force officer. Sorry, Sadiq Shehu. Thank you for joining us. Hello? Mr. Shehu, thank you for joining
Good
us.
afternoon.
Yes. I want to ask what the challenges of Nigeria armed forces, particularly. What are those things that are militating against, conquering these insurgents?
Sorry, please, I can't hear you very well.
What are those factors militating against Nigerians overrunning these insurgents?
The factors militating against?
Against defeating the enemy.
Since 2009.
Yes.
Why is it becoming difficult?
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you. Why is it becoming difficult?
Why is it becoming difficult to do what?
To win Boko Haram.
Good. To be honest with you, there are many factors, and we have to look at, I generally say that we are not putting our money where our mouth is. A look at Nigeria's defense budget from that 2009, when we started fighting Boko Haram up to now, has not shown the putting of emphasis on the security situations we are having. And in addition to Boko Haram, we also have a lot of internal security crises. However, when we look at what we are spending in actual terms as a proportion of GDP, we see that Nigeria is spending less than 1% from that 2009 up to the last budget that was passed. This is not how a country at war should be addressing the security situation. In Naira and Kobo, we must say defense is the second largest on the budget. But when you look at what Nigeria is spending in proportion to the problems at hand, honest, the spending is not much that. We may talk about corruption and other issues, but what I am saying, that may be there, but the money being allocated for the defense is not commensurate with the challenges we are having. Again, on the recent statement made by the Chief of Army Staff yesterday in Abuja, honest is something that both military and civilian leaders must really look at. The Chief of Army Staff, who should know, is telling us that young commanders and soldiers are not putting in their best. How did we get into there? What, as far as concerned, as somebody who has been studying military affairs for a long time and discussing with other officers, what the Chief of Army Staff has said, unfortunately, is something that has been discussed in military domain for a long time. From our selection to our training in NDA, to our selection of military leaders, to the way we promote our officers, all need to be reversed. There are a lot of interferences in the selection of people going into NDA. I must say that for somebody who has been to NDA like 30 years back, this is not how it used to be. We have the elite. The elite are tampering with the selection of officers into NDA. And here, when I say the elite, in all honesty, I mean both the military and the civilian elite. Everybody wants to push his spoiled, pampered child into NDA. He wants NDA to lower its standard, to make his word to pass out. That is what's happening. They follow their children to NDA. They interfere with training. They micromanage where these officers are posted. They micromanage. Nobody has anybody who is holding the rank of general now. I can look him in the face and say he didn't enjoy that from his parents. Why is it now that they want their children to pass through NDA and become very bad officers? In modern military now, wars are fought at the company, platoon, or at most battalion level. Here you have a lieutenant, a captain, or major, or at most a lieutenant colonel. These are the people who fight. If you don't have quality grades within this rank, and this is what we are saying, not only in wars, we have seen even in staff duties, the officers we have on this rank, to be honest with you, they are not up to standard. So what Tukur Buratai said is something that has been creeping into our military institutions, and there is need for concerted effort by all the military top brass and also the political leaders to look into it. Because a military that does not have quality young officers and men is in danger of exploding. That is what I have to say.
Now, we need to ask you about the matter of equipment, because we hear soldiers complain that they ran out of ammunition and that it enabled their military base to be overrun by the enemy. What can we do? What remedial measures can we take now to ensure that we provide the weapons that will give us an edge?
Thank you very much. Anybody who is conversant with first lining in military operations knows there's what's called table of equipment and organization. That means if you say this is a company, There is a specific number of officers and men that are supposed to man that company. There is a specific number of personal weapons and infantry, artillery, or mortar and other support weapons that are supposed to be there. In all honesty, I don't think we have any unit at a battalion level in Nigerian military now that has this table of equipment, that is in terms of manning, in terms of equipment. So where do we start? It is a very, difficult task, which started, like I said, since before, in fact, since 1999, when democracy started. To be honest with you, we have not been spending enough on our military. But we cannot solve this problem overnight, but we can start somewhere. I am proposing that we start having model battalions. What I mean, at least in every state, people can have a battalion that has the full complement of officers and men, the full complement of equipment that is needed. We can start building from there. Right now, if you want to get one full battalion in the Nigerian military, in all honesty, you have to scavenge among other 2 or 3 battalions. This is well known. Yeah, we want this country to survive. We must face the reality to know that our military, as presently equipped and presently manned, is not in a position to provide what we're asking it to do.
Now, do you think that we have enough troops on ground in the northeast to deliver a crushing blow on the enemy?
Are you talking particularly in the northeast?
Troop strength. Do you think we have enough troops on ground in the northeast?
Definitely. Looking at the size, the sheer size of Nigeria, look at the nature of security challenges, looking at the role that Nigeria wants to play in West Africa, in Africa, and in the world. Remember, we pride ourselves as the giant of Africa. Even as we are talking in the midst of this Boko Haram, we have troops in Guinea-Bissau, we have troops in Gambia, we have troops in Mali. This is very important. Nigeria has to maintain presence. So even if you pack all those troops and take all the troops that are in Nigeria and deploy them to the northeast, in all honesty, based on studies carried out by counterinsurgency experts, we need nothing less than 200 troops on the ground in the northeast. I do not think since we started this, I don't have the official figures, but I can permutate and say we have not assembled up to 50,000 at any one time. There is a limit to which a soldier's bravery or a junior officer's bravery can complement when there is not enough resources, when there are not enough members. A counterinsurgency is the kind of operation that you need to saturate the ground with people with boots on the ground, because that is the only way you can bring comfort and bring confidence to the people to remain where they are. And in counterinsurgency, it's not like in a normal, in a conventional warfare. What counts as victory is for people in Adamawa, in Yobe, and Borno to remain. It's for IDPs to stop fleeing their areas. That's when you say you have confidence. And you can only do that when you saturate the ground. Like I said, we need nothing less than 200,000. And when I say 200,000 troops, I'm talking of well-equipped troops, not just a haggard or ragged troops.
I want to thank you.
Thank you.
Sidik Shehu is a retired Air Force officer. Thank you for your intervention. I'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. Please stay with us. Welcome back. This is Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from television Continental in our headquarters, Lagos, Nigeria. And we are looking at the challenges facing our armed forces, especially in the northeast. And we are zeroing down to the Nigerian army now as a result of what the Chief of Army Staff actually said. Babajide, this retired Air Force officer is telling us that we need 200,000 at least. At least. And right now, he doesn't think that they've deployed up to 50,000 troops.
No, the truth is, around December last year, we had about 38,000 troops in the whole of the Northeast. We had not even approached the threshold of 40,000 at that time, So, and pressure from Zamfara, from other places, because it's the army that we keep sending to all these places, because we've lost faith in the police. We have not invested our faith in the police. So the pressure on the army and the Air Force to deploy their resources in other places outside of the Northeast is enormous. It's enormous. When headsmen were killing people for fun in Benue State, we had to send them Mi-35, send the soldiers, send the DIA, until we were able to crush them once and for all. And today, they no longer rear their heads.
That in so many states.
And after that, things got worse in Zamfara. We had to go. We had to send troops to Zamfara, send the Air Force to Zamfara with their base in Katsina. That's where they take off from. So the pressure, how many Mi-35s, for example, do we have? We know that it's a fantastic weapon against the enemy. But how many do we have? If we can't even use all the Mi-35 we have in the northeast, why are people surprised that sometimes the army will be in distress and the Air Force can quickly come in? So we have all kinds of problems, because even the Air Force too is overstretched. And what he said about the indiscipline, all these big men, traditional rulers, putting their children in the army, yet they don't. They will say no. Don't post them to the northeast. Post them to Niger Delta.
Say they're interfering with even the training. That means it will even kill these.
That is the thing. That is the thing. How can you produce fantastic commanders out of those people? You know, because they don't even want their own children to be in harm's way. They say post them to Niger Delta, don't post them to the northeast. And a lot of them encourage their own children to even desert. Because in the past, the army used to seize power in Nigeria. You see emirs and all these big people putting their children in the army, and those children become ADCs to big people and all that. But that has ended. And that's why the former chief of defense staff said, why did you join the army if you don't want to die? Because we've seen cases of even soldiers refusing to fight. This chief of army staff, when he got into office, in October 2015, there was an attack at Gaydam. The chief of army staff was very angry. He said they had all the weapons to confront the enemy, but they chose to run away. So in the army magazine, Soldier, he warned them that if it should happen again, that they will be severely dealt with. And even when the army wants to discipline its own officers and men who demonstrated lack of discipline, civilians will be putting their mouth.
They run to Femi Falana.
You know, purely military matters will get involved.
They run to Femi Falana and they'll be shouting him out like.
All of this. No one is even saying Falana cannot get involved. But it's not in all cases that civilians.
If you signed your freedom to the military,
okay, look at what
decide to met on
Let me tell you, look at what happened the other day, the one that Obi Ezekesili got involved in. These guys who are going to be posted, they had trained them as special forces. They got special forces training in Jaji. On the day they were going to be deployed, once they saw that they were taking them to the northeast, they disappeared. And when the army said, look, we are going to court-martial this, we'll discipline them, this and that, people like Obi Ezekwesili got involved and said, no, you can't do that. Of course, you can't get involved in this. They have to be disciplined. Why did you join the army if you did not want to be deployed to a fighting zone? What is the job of the army if it's not to fight? And then people will say, oh, no, they didn't join the army to commit suicide, this and that. But you open your eyes when you join the army.
Sign it off.
So we know that there are problems with equipment. We know that they should give the soldiers the equipment that they need to prosecute this war. But there are some people who are bad eggs in the army. They are the ones who give out information about troops movement and endanger the lives of their colleagues. Nobody can deny that this is happening. The chief of army staff has talked about this a number of times. No one, I'm not supporting the chief of army staff. It's not totally right. There are other problems. Problem of strategy not working and all that. For me, I expect a situation in which when you are talking about this problem, talk about other factors.
Holistically.
You know, let's look at it holistically, not simply to give us the feeling that a lot of these commanders are not ready to fight. But these commanders, a lot of them are paying with their lives. Iwal Aminu, Colonel Iwal Aminu is dead. Sakaba was killed in Metele. And other commanders like that. We've lost a lot of commanders. So was it convenient for them to simply sit back and wait to be killed by the enemy? No. Don't run down your troops. Don't condemn your troops in this manner. Yeah, we know that there's a problem. Yeah. Because if you condemn your troops, in no time they will be tired of you and they will not fight for you.
They'll be mutiny.
They will not fight for you. They will not give their best for you. Every leader in every situation will only get the best from his people, from his troops, when they can see that at every turn he backs them. If you throw your men under the bus, you can be sure that they will get tired of you. They will not fight for you. They will not give their best for you. And in Nigeria, at the end, will suffer.
Emeka, when at the end of this whole thing, I'm looking at even beyond the Northeast now. We have problems, North Central, we have problems going down Nigeria, and it's still the same military we call on because we've lost faith in the Nigerian police for internal security. Ordinarily, anything happening within the country is meant to be in the jurisdiction of Nigerian police, but they are not equipped, they are not trained, and
they are not even sufficient.
Half of them end up carrying madam's bag and officers and everything. So,
umbrella.
I'm so Frank Uba, sorry, but that's just the reality. Now we have other challenges in other parts of the country.
Yeah, for me, I think first of all, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo should embark on shuttle diplomacy to some of our friends in the West, and really talk to them about, and there's some other friendly African countries, talk to them because we need to strengthen our multinational joint task force. He should embark on that shuttle diplomacy. There's real fire on the mountain.
That's why I've been killed.
There's real fire on the mountain. So he should, because the president cannot go, but he can go around and find a way to talk to these people, lead
Olamide
the diplomatic
us from Maiduguri.
offensive.
Thank you for joining us, Olamide. Hello, Olamide.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Go ahead with your contribution.
Okay. I just want to make a suggestion with that yes, I can hear you.
Go on.
Okay, I pertain to the statement made by the Chief of Army Staff. I disagree with him. Because if you look at it in this way, Ayo, let's make it in this way. If you are one of those soldiers in the war front fighting and you die in that ground and nothing happened to you, nobody caters for your family, and you still want the rest of men in the front to do the same thing.
Are you asking me, Olamide?
For those people who have lost their life in Maiduguri, we have millions of soldiers who lost their life there. Their family are not catered for. They are sent them out of the barrack. And you are here saying that soldiers, they don't want to fight. Not you. I'm referring to that very particular statement.
Thank you.
They don't do what they
Thank you for your contribution.
So what I'm also saying is that we cannot continue to lament our challenges, our failures. I mean, what is the problem of the police? The last Senate, the 8th Senate brought up the police reform bill. So this current Senate should move forward on it. The 9th National Assembly, in fact, I should take it as one of its priorities, move forward so that the police can be strengthened. But we need international support. We cannot continue this grandstanding. We need international support. We must find a way to break this debacle. We must find a way to break this deadlock. The Vice President should move. He should move around. If since Ghana, Benin, and Uganda had actually offered, let us try and see what we can do to boost the morale, of these troops. It's
Okay,
very,
quickly,
very
moving forward now. It is said that to be forewarned is to be forearmed. The worsening security situation in Nigeria has reached a point where citizens must take extra caution to avoid being caught in the web. The UK government has, in its own way, warned its citizens against traveling to 21 states in the country. Considering the high risk, top on the lists of the states, according to the Foreign and Commonwealth Office in Nigeria, are Borno State, Yobe State, Adamawa State, Gombe State, Zamfara State, Katsina State, Kaduna State, Sokoto State, and the coastal areas of Niger Delta, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Cross Rivers. These are states at the epic center of the Boko Haram insurgency, armed banditry, kidnapping, and militancy. Meanwhile, the wave of kidnapping hit Oyo State on Tuesday when gunmen numbering 4 abducted Dayo Adewale, the son of immediate past Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale. Dayo was squeezed away from his farm in Iroko village near Fiditi in Oyo State. GKB, we said it on Monday, we also said it yesterday that, look, it's now moving to places that Nigerians will not even expect. And before you said Jack Robinson, now, if it's not because of this Dayo being the son of the minister, something like that has been going on a daily basis. Now we know Dayo is now in the hands of his abductors in the southwest Oyo State.
It is unfortunate that we left fire on our roof for so long, and we are suffering the consequences. When the insurgency started, some of us were keep saying that this is a national problem. People thought it was a sectional problem. And I keep telling them that if those places are no longer habitable, they will migrate to where you are, which is habitable. And that's where we are today. The insurgency level in the northwest and the northeast has gotten to a point that almost every able-bodied man is now heading south, especially southwest, either to be an Okada rider or to work in the abattoir. And figures keep up. In a particular area of Lagos, Ogba, if you stand at that junction, you see nothing less than 20 trucks heading for the abattoir, just with enough cows and a lot of people.
On top.
And they are coming in, they are not going back.
Even
scrap metal,
working in gold mines.
Yeah, in
in
Elisha.
Zamfara. They've now come down. A lot of them are in Elisha now.
You have gold mines too
Yeah,
there.
You have gold in
Elisha, the highest gold deposit in Nigeria is in Elisha.
They've taken over that area, and there are people told me even yesterday that once it's 5 p.m., don't go near the gold mines. You will disappear. It's one thing for them to kidnap you. It's another thing for you to simply disappear. It is that bad. And that they have support.
In the southwest.
In the southwest. They have support of some agencies of state. Certain elements in the police, certain elements in the army. That you will know.
To do what? To do what?
To do what? To take money, take the minerals, and sell. And then some of them are even encouraged by some traditional rulers who also benefit from these illegal.
Some of them are sold land and all that. So.
It's that bad. In fact, there's an area in Oyo North, Afikpo area, that one of the kings sold nothing less than 2 hectares of another man's family land to the Bororo. That's what we call them in Oyo North. Basically, to ensure that they have somewhere to stay. And now, fine, Bororo has been in Oyo North for over 200 years, but it does not give them the rights for an Oba not to throw his people under the bus, basically because he wants to make money in the short run. So the problem is more intractable than we are putting on. The Southwest is the last bastion of any peaceful existence in this country. And like I said when I wrote this morning, RSC has come to paradise.
Judy, the Inspector General of Police actually even sent his delegation to the area.
Yeah, he met with the area yesterday. We were there.
Yes. And because they gave them 7-day ultimatum, because area was.
No, we said in the press release that we signed as members of the area Kakafo Council that the Nigerian forces are encouraged to do their duty. That if they do not do it, we will be forced to take certain actions. Nobody put a date on it. I'm surprised when I read papers. I'm one of the signatories of that press release, and there's nowhere in that release.
Bottom line, you've gotten the attention of the states.
Everybody knows where we stand.
Okay, the Inspector General of Police sent people and everything. It is bad. Before we came into the studio, we were talking about how bad it is now. Somebody like me,
a friend of mine said he had not been able to go to Akure for weeks now. And he has something important to do there. He's been in 2 minds whether to get into an aircraft and fly to Akure and
From
then,
Lagos.
yes, and
Do
then
overland
do
or-
the rest by road. But he has also been told that a lot of kidnappings take place on that airport road.
Well, after you
Yes,
disembark
because
from
they know
the
they know
aircrafts.
that a lot of you are not prepared to travel by road, or you want to go by air. So once you come down from the aircraft,
They are waiting.
that stretch of road, that corridor,
It's up to 50 kilometers.
that's
to the
where
main
they
town.
wait
Very
for you.
tiny.
So that's where they wait for you. So that is what has got him really worried now, and is scared. So we are in serious trouble. I saw a story of a man that was arrested in Zaria with tons of ammunition. And he supplies kidnappers with this ammunition. That's why Kaduna is currently ranked #1 in our country. In terms of the number of kidnappers that were arrested between May 10 and June 14, Kaduna had 101 out of 424. Across the country, 424 persons arrested for kidnapping. Kaduna had 101. And it is basically because of that highway. You can imagine people are in the train and an helicopter is hovering ahead, escorting them, which means that even while they are in the train, they are not safe.
How
So
now?
The helicopter has
We
to...
can never stop a moving train.
Government, they can open
surprised.
fire. Government can
Don't be
can open
surprised.
fire. No, they do it. They can hijack the train now.
Consider block
Because
real
big
line.
men, that is how they go to Abuja now. They are not ready to die. The more people make money in Nigeria, the more difficult it is for them to contemplate death. So they are not prepared to die. So they rather hop into the train. The train that is meant for the Lazarus stratum of society. No? So they now, and with that, even with that, they will now, an helicopter will be flying to accompany them right up to Kaduna, where their convoy will now be waiting to pick them. So this is the problem. We have a serious problem. We have to admit, my friend who drove from here, who was lucky that he was not kidnapped, and began ranting that everywhere is safe.
Let him do
I
it
said, "Dúpẹ́ Monaco, dúpẹ́ because those who have unlucky." I said the thing, "Dúpẹ́ and then what happened to the
Adewale's son.
yes,
The son of a minister.
this boy read microbiology, and he scored a first class, and he was given a scholarship at Harvard to come and do his PhD. He said, "No, I prefer to stay in Nigeria. I want to go into farming." His father fought him. But Dio said, "This is my passion. I want to be a farmer. I want to remain in my country."
Oh, man.
Now, when these sort of things happen to people who are passionate about their country like this,
It's meant to be in
the
Harvard.
next day, yes, he got a scholarship.
When they got free,
Now, when he gets out of that place, you see him move away with his family.
everybody.
This is how we are losing young people.
Yes,
That are
brain
going
drain.
abroad to improve the economy.
Brain drain.
To improve the economies of foreign lands. Yes, that's what. He will remove his dress and be walking on the farm. You won't know that he's
he's a very
son
down
of
to
a rich man.
They would have targeted him.
Of course, that's what happened.
I read somewhere
no
that
security
he asked them to stop foraging on his farm, and then they came and picked him.
They kidnapped him. Yeah.
Yes, they asked them to stop messing around.
Nobody can be sure.
Okay, Emeka.
What will have happened.
Now, if the British government, if they are listing 21 out of 36 states in Nigeria, and they are telling their citizens, please,
No
don't
good areas.
go there. In terms of investment, imagine what we're going to lose, foreign direct
Tourism.
investment, tourism and everything. And I'm sure the American government too, they also told the line, okay,
Travel
look at this graph now. And the primary responsibility of any government is the
I
protection.
just saw look at the tweet by Abulimen that they should have withdrawn Shell. They are not saying people should not come to Nigeria. They are just saying be careful.
I read the entire report. It said somewhere in the lower part that over 117,000 Britons visit Nigeria yearly and have not come to any harm. So it's not as if they are saying
not
that
saying don't
Nigeria
come. Don't
They're
come.
advising you.
has
Be
become
careful.
another hell. But the issue is that what they're also trying to say, because these travel advisories are there, you know, they just keep updating them. But the issue is this.
For 21 out of 36 states, it says a lot.
We must
There's
do
nothing
something.
they have said that is new.
We must do something.
The INEC chairman also said the other day that during the last election that they had issues with just 3 or 4 states, but that now more than 16 states.
The NYC commander.
I think they are meant to start their orientation today. In most of the states, they are not mobilizing.
They said
The orientation.
that's an acceptance that the state has failed.
So there is a big problem in Nigeria today. Security, let me tell you, security has collapsed. And I was even surprised they didn't even mention some places in the southwest. I felt they were just maybe they are still looking at those places, because look at what is happening in Ondo, in Osun. It should give cause for worry. And those states are actually transit points for people going to the north, to the east.
Or coming down.
Look at even Okada. Look at even Okada. Look at Ore. Bini Ore Road.
No, that's
look at different. Look at here, Ogere.
Bini Ore, what is
look at
happening in Bini
Ogere.
Ore?
Or Lagos Ibadan Express, Ogere. There have been some incidents. So tell me, if we don't do something, how long will it take before these guys even come to Lagos?
As if they are not here already.
We are just joking with this thing. But of course, you know, when Fashola was the governor, there were incidents of kidnapping. But I learned he had a smart strategy, you know, for managing the information. But can we continue to? There have been kidnap cases in Lagos.
Kidnapping is. We had kidnapping cases even during his time. Mega kidnapping cases. A lot of those people that Evans kidnapped were kidnapped during his time.
Yes.
You know, it's just like Evans's case piled up.
Yes.
So the truth is, kidnapping is in vogue now. Amongst the criminal elements in our country, it's in vogue now. So that is why there is a spike. So people who naturally will have done armed robbery, they are not interested in armed robbery anymore. They just want to kidnap and you'll get your cool cash.
So why?
That's the thing.
But
60,
people pay up to 100 million.
Getting 60 million in one particular transaction.
But Lagos State government defeated Bado. So what has gone? What has happened? Why is it that all these other crimes cannot be defeated? Is it that government doesn't want to buy the bullet or what? What is the problem? What is the problem? If you have to involve OPC, if you have to involve OPC,
in fact, Gani Adams had to go on an operation with the police.
If you have to involve OPC, if you have to revive the Bakassi boys, if in the southeast, whatever needs to be done should be done.
We advised that they should involve the OPC boys. We advised. And then about 48 hours later, they got them involved.
Even at a point, they were dealing with the soldiers at Ojo cantonments. They were kidnapping their boys, going through the reef. It was OPC that was waiting.
Why should the IG send a delegate emissaries to beg Gani Adams?
It's not to beg.
Why?
Not to beg.
Again, you have to get
Partnership.
What I'm talking about is that
No, he had something.
they had to wait. Why did they have to wait until OPC got so angry and decided to move?
No, but
What
the
I'm saying is
OPC,
that-
the thing is, Gani Adams is a law-abiding Nigerian.
Yes.
He made a statement.
Yes.
The police are coming to say, look, we are working on this matter. You don't have to go the length that you plan to go. The natural thing is to give assurances that these are the moves. And then how do they now work together?
But they have
because
to
he said
work with
something.
OPC.
No,
They have to work with
hold
OPC.
on now, hold on. He said, because they claim that they know where those boys are.
Yeah,
At that point, the police should be involved.
Yeah.
The police, because you know where they are, then work with the police so that the police will be able to go and fish them out where they are.
That is
I'm sure that it's
simple.
at that point that the police got interested.
What we did in that press statement is basically to list out areas that are core, including the nearest towns, about 64 of them, throughout the southwest. The information is not new. They were given to governors. But the less we talk about southwestern governors, the better. What we are the state
One of them is kidnapped. They won't know.
No, but one of them escaped the other day. Akeredolu escaped.
So what the police are trying to
his convoy was attacked.
Because we keep telling people go on social media and say all sort of rubbish that I don't know is not acting. Is that you cannot take your last line of defense and use it as the first line.
Of course.
The first line are the governors.
Of course.
Second line are the obas.
Yeah.
It's only when they could not solve the problem that we will come in. Don't throw away your best hands and when in the country where people don't appreciate.
Okay, GKB.
Dying for them.
I want to thank you, Gani Kayode. Balogun, Osiare Onokakankwo, and our very good fan, Are Onokakankwo himself. Please, thank you for always watching.
Save Nigeria.
Save Nigeria. All hands should be on deck right now. Emeka Madunagu, thank you. And BKO, thank you. We'll continue doing this. And
for the sake of our country.
Yes, just for the sake of our fatherland. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. And you can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzubago. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.